Donald Trump's dark past continues to surface, and all of the old tricks that he uses to try to delay and prevent any investigation into the things he did in the past, it just ain't working anymore.
So MeidasTouch just dropped this bombshell analysis about Trump's Epstein cover-up falling apart. And honestly, the timing couldn't be more perfect. We're seeing Democrats like Robert Garcia finally forcing accountability, while Trump's team scrambles with the same tired delay tactics. This is accountability journalism at its finest.
There are Democrats like Ro Khanna and Congresswoman Stansberry and AOC and others who are aggressively pursuing Donald Trump's cover-up of the Epstein files.
What's remarkable here is that progressive Democrats are leading this charge, while establishment Republicans stay silent. Ro Khanna, AOC, and Stansberry are doing the heavy lifting on what should be universal outrage. Notice how this isn't coming from GOP leadership. They're complicit in the stonewalling.
Last week, or 2 weeks ago at this point, Melania Trump held that press conference where she started saying, she held it in the White House, that she had no connections with Epstein and that all of the messages and emails and text messages that are out there are fake and the photographs are fake and they just were in some same social circles together, but nothing was real about it. And
that Melania press conference was absolutely unprecedented. First ladies don't hold damage control pressers unless they're terrified. Claiming photos and messages are fake is classic Trump playbook, but it signals they know damaging evidence exists. Innocent people don't preemptively deny everything.
You all know that now in April 15th, 14th, right around that time period. And then Bondi, through the Department of Justice, was saying, well, she's not the Attorney General anymore. And you subpoenaed her when she was the Attorney General, so she ain't going to testify anymore at all, or we're going to extend it sometime indefinitely into the future.
This legal maneuvering is textbook obstruction. Bondi was directly involved in burying the Epstein investigation as AG, and now they're using technicalities to avoid accountability. Compare this to how cooperative witnesses behave. They show up, answer questions, and clear their names.
Obviously, there's a big difference between Hillary Clinton, who's not even in the files, and Bill Clinton, who hasn't held public office for, 26 years, as opposed to Pam Bondi, who's literally the one involved in the cover-up of the child sex trafficking ring that everybody in America wants to have answers to pretty much on a bipartisan basis, other than Trump and the MAGA Republicans in Congress and Trump's cabinet.
The Clinton comparison is pure deflection. Bill left office in 2001, 25 years ago. Bondi was actively suppressing this investigation as recently as last month. There's a massive difference between historical figures and current officials covering up active crimes.
Said, Dear Chairman Comer, it has been more than 2 weeks since Pam Bondi was fired from her role as Attorney General and 3 days since her scheduled deposition on April 14, 2026, at which she failed to appear. Since her termination, committee Democrats have received no information about the status of Ms. Bondi's deposition beyond broad, non-specific statements from committee Republicans that her deposition is being, quote, rescheduled to some unspecified date in the future.
Garcia's letter follows proper oversight protocol perfectly. 3 days past the subpoena deadline with zero communication shows contempt for Congress. When witnesses have nothing to hide, they don't ghost congressional committees. This behavior screams guilty conscience.
As you know, on March 4th, 2026, the committee held a bipartisan vote to issue a subpoena to Pam Bondi for deposition testimony relating to the possible mismanagement of the federal government's investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, among other topics. The motion was supported by Republican committee members Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, Tim Burchett, Michael Cloud, Scott Perry, in addition to oversight Democrats.
That bipartisan subpoena vote is devastating for Trump. When Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, and Scott Perry vote to compel testimony, you know the evidence is overwhelming. These aren't liberal Democrats. These are Trump allies who saw enough evidence to demand answers.
He called them the Epstein survivors. He said, why aren't the victims, or whatever they're called, or whoever they are, they should testify? I heard that they don't want to testify and they don't want to give any information. And that's what this is all about.
Trump calling them whatever they're called reveals his complete lack of empathy for trafficking survivors. Then he blames the victims for not wanting to testify, while his administration actively blocks the investigation. The cruelty and hypocrisy are staggering.
Because if you did the right thing as Pam Bondi, if you did an investigation the way you were supposed to do it, you put the right protocols, you followed the law, the Epstein Transparency Act, and other law, there really would be not a lot to be afraid about. It may be a little bit annoying that you would have to testify to begin with, but you would answer the questions. Unlike what she did the first time she testified before her termination, where she started talking about the Dow and bringing up a burn book of the members to yell.
Exactly right. Innocent officials welcome transparency. Bondi's previous testimony meltdown, where she literally brought opposition research to attack committee members instead of answering questions, showed she has something massive to hide. Normal people don't behave this way.
But the efforts that they're going through to not have her be deposed is perhaps the most telling thing of all right here. And in all of this back and forth, let's just reflect on that. Yeah. She's hiding from something. She's scared of something. And when it comes to conduct relating to a child sex trafficking ring, and you're being asked to be deposed, you shouldn't be scared, because you should be on the side of the survivors and their champion, their knight, the good guy.
This is the moral litmus test of our time. When faced with questions about child trafficking, law enforcement officials should be champions for survivors, not hiding behind lawyers and technicalities. Bondi's terror of testifying tells us everything we need to know. This is the moral litmus test of our time. When faced with questions about child trafficking, law enforcement officials should be champions for survivors, not hiding behind lawyers and technicalities. Bondi's terror of testifying tells us everything we need to know.